Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Judy Copenbarger Money Truth Moments. I'm here with our very own special money whisperer, financial guru, Judy Copenbarger. How are you, Judy?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. I know we have a great show because I want to start the show by letting you know that I had a viewer reach out to me and they were sick last week and they couldn't watch the show, but they told me to personally tell you, please tell Judy that I didn't miss her show on purpose because I was sick. So I'm going to watch the replay. So I had to pass
Oh,
that. So
that's awesome. Well, that's why we have a replay on Thursday evenings. So that's wonderful to hear, and I'm glad that that's bringing some added value to these people's lives. That's what it's all about.
absolutely. And today we finished a great series. So if you didn't catch that, folks, make sure that you go back and look at some of the previous shows. There was a 3-part series that we covered a lot of ground on that. Today, I'm very excited because we're also taking this to a new level, right? So we have the show today is about the process of financial planning.
Mhm.
And I think part of this came because we've had discussions about folks feeling overwhelmed when it comes to managing finances. We're all worried about saving enough for retirement, kids' educations, house fixings, things that we don't expect. And we're also really unsure how do we invest our wealth and all of that. So we got a jam-packed show, folks. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. And what do you say we get started?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So let me ask you the very first question right out of the gate. Can you walk us through the typical steps involved in developing just a comprehensive financial plan for anyone?
Yeah, there's just a couple cornerstone fundamentals that you need to put together. The first thing is to set clear goals, like exactly where are we headed? What do we need the money to do for us? And that's going to be different for every person, for every family. So once you get the goals set, then you want to prioritize them. The next thing you want to do is make sure you've got the dream team put together. Get your bench, go as deep as you can. You want to make sure you have the right people helping you, the investment advisors, a good CPA if you need one. Enrolled agents can also prepare taxes. But if you have a business or any complexity, you're going to want a CPA to help you. They're going to know the rules and have that layers of education there. You might need an attorney to help you with your business issues, contract issues, estate planning, the structure of how you form your business. You want to have that team together. You want to work backwards from your goals. So, for example, if you want to have $5 million at retirement time, you should know when that is. The date you turn 65, the date you turn 72, the 50th anniversary, whatever it is, you want to have a date on the calendar and then you work backwards. If you know you need 5 million, what do you have to do between now and then? Now, this is where you can really use some help, perhaps from your investment advisors to help you project exactly how much work your money will do, while you're reducing the amount of work that you do in those later years. But that's how you do it. You just work backwards and then you course correct along the way. So if you know you have to put $500 a month in for the next 20 years, there might be things that change that. You might have some years where your investments do better than expected. Maybe you can ease up on that contribution. There might be years where it doesn't do as well, or you have another surprise expense come up that takes you off track. You want to course correct, get back on track, and then just keep going. And that's what a really good plan will do for you. It's amazing how simple it is. Not always easy because there's a discipline involved, but it's very simple. And you can do this.
It also brings in another question, and you kind of answered it right now, but talk to us a little bit about what are the key elements that should be addressed when you're looking at a financial plan.
Yeah, there are five pillars of finance. So two of them are protective, two of them are growth oriented, and then there's a neutral one. So the protection ones are all of your insurances, all of your legal matters, which is your estate planning, your business structures and contracts that protect you, right? You're growing all of this wealth. How do we make sure that we keep it? Taxation is a third one. And it's the same question. When you have cash flows, there's this taxation that happens. You've heard of that, right? Like we've all had that experience, and sometimes it's not a pleasant one. How do you keep more of what's actually flowing in? And good tax planning will do that. It'll make that number much higher that you actually keep in your household, and funnel it where you want it to go, to your kids, to your future, to the causes that you care about. That's huge, taxation. And then the other two pillars are the cash reserves and cash flows. That's all the questions about cash flowing in and out, expenses, how you manage that, income, how do you manage that, budget things. And then the last one is investments. And investments are not just traditional investments like stocks and bonds and 401ks and IRAs. It's also real estate. It also can be business interests. And so those are the 5 pillars, and all of those should be addressed in a good, comprehensive, written lifetime financial strategy or a plan. That's all you need. Simple.
But simple, right? It's always the simplest things are usually the hardest things to do.
Just
Love
do
it.
that. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so,
It's funny. It's
so I
just like,
know I
oh,
know
go
you've
ahead.
helped a lot of people over the years, over the course of your career too. Um, and when you're helping clients, how do you help them identify like their short-term and long-term financial goals during this entire planning process?
Well, we always start with a financial roadmap, and we do a really good job lining up people's um, most closely held values with their most important goals. And there's a very distinct process we go through at our firm. And I love to help people have the financial roadmap experience because they come away with, wow, that's really what I want. And it's on paper and I can kind of see clearly. I can see clearly now the clouds are gone. Yes. You can kind of see with clarity the vision that you have for your life. And you didn't know it was there. You kind of know pieces like, when I'm 60, I want to have a cabin in the woods, and have the kids come out for Christmas and we're going to chop down our own tree. You have these like little glimpses of what you want in your future, but it's not clear how you're going to get there. And a good plan does that. And it always starts with the values that you have. That might be family connection. It might be creating legacy. It might be creating memories. So long after you're here, the kids will remember being in the snow and hot chocolate with cutting down the tree and decorating, it's all those things. So the values, and then you line up the goals because that would take money, right? To buy a cabin would take money. Where's it going to come from? Or if every winter we're going to go somewhere as a family, that's travel. Where's that money going to come from? It's not an ordinary expense for most people. So that's just a matter of lining up your goals and values, and I think that's where it should start. That'll give you a sustainable roadmap of where you want to go.
Give us some questions that you would normally ask clients to understand their financial situation. But these are also questions that I think that can help someone. Let's just use me as an example. That can help me or our users ask those same questions to ourselves. So we're
Mhm.
thinking about it before we talk to a professional like yourself.
Yeah. The first question almost always that I ask people once we get settled down, because they're thinking, should I buy this stock? Should I sell that stock? How much should I put in my 401k? Do I have the right insurance? There's all this stuff. The first question is, what's important about money to you? What's it for? What does it do to add to your life? And when you have it, what's different? And when you do kind of a deep analysis of what's money for some people it's like, I don't care about money, don't need it, don't want it. I think I'm better off without it. And that's a good place to start. Other people are the more the better. I want to live in a big house on a top of a hill with a bunch of fast cars in the garage. And that's the right answer too. So it's all about what's important to you. Other people really want to leave a mark. They want to make a difference. They want to make sure there's no kids in their community that go to play soccer but they don't have cleats. They want to make sure that their grandkids are going to have mission trips. They're going to be able to learn music and afford a really good piano teacher. Right. So all these values, as they come out and you express them, it's like, okay, well, what are the goals that are in alignment with those values? And I think if people ask themselves that, what do I really want? What's the outcome I want? There's a way to get it done. There's always a way. And so it might not be the conventional way, doing all the things that you're doing and have the portfolio that you have and the insurance policies that you have and the will that you have, like everybody else does. Those are all the little pieces. But how do you put this mosaic together and make it be art to you? That's how you get there. And it starts with what's important to you. What do you want to have as the outcome? If you could have 3 really big outcomes, really big goals, what would those be? And let's put the rocks in first, right? Then the pebbles, then the sand, then the water, right? That's how you do it. So if you're doing this at home and you're thinking about how do I want that plan to go, that's how you do it.
These are great things that are getting us to think about, things that we haven't thought about, right? In a more methodical way, a better way to really understand where we need to go, rather than just like, hey, I heard so and so's doing it this, let me try this. Or like you mentioned before, we're gonna try, Uncle John's doing it this way, so let me try that. But it's always very unique, the perspective that you get a lot of the listeners, a lot of us to think about how to do that approach.
Yeah, and I think that's the experience in most people's lives. They do the things, it's like here's a list of things that people say to do, whether it's online or the people at work are doing it, or my uncle told me, everybody's got
Mhm.
an Uncle John or Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
Um, and so what does he say to do? He seems to have some money and he doesn't worry about paying the bills. So let's do what he's doing. Well, those little pieces might be appropriate, but they might really not be optimizing your circumstances. And that's where a specific plan can come in. And that's where I usually push back on people that are using advice they get on TV or from radio, celebrities or entertainer. They're really entertainers, Jim Cramer, the Bears and Bulls guy, and Susie Orman, all those people, they're entertainment. Now they might know something about, they might have some experience, but they're delivering generic advice that is fun to watch. It's fun to hear other people's stories and it's entertainment value. And some of the advice might be right for you, but how would you know if it's not? And I'm usually sitting there going, well, they don't have a law degree. Do they know what they're doing? They're going to blow up this other area of finance. If that person takes that advice and they have these circumstances, it's going to hurt them, not help them. Other people, it's exactly the right advice, but because it's not curtailed, specifically to their situation, it might really harm them or cause a tax problem or some other kind of problem in the other areas. So you got to really watch out for that. But I think if you just keep it very simple, you start with your values, you start with your goals, and you don't ever hurry. You should never be in a hurry with any financial decision. If you're feeling any sense of pressure from yourself or a salesperson on the outside, and they usually are dressed up pretty well. They don't look like salespeople, but they are, right? Most people in finance are, advocating for something. You just want to make sure you take your time. There's no hurry.
It reminds me of the Saturday Night Live sketch of the land shark, right? When you have the salespeople coming at you, land shark. Yep.
Land shark.
Oh, yep, exactly. So you guys have to be aware of
Sure.
that, and that's awesome how you're bringing that up too. But I was going to ask you this question. You kind of touched on it now, but as you take in and you're talking to clients and you talk to clients, I think what's fascinating is how do you analyze a client's financial standing and make those recommendations for improvement?
Well, it's an art and a science. And I've done it a couple of times over the last 40 years.
Don't give away the secret sauce. I'm just, you know what I mean? We're trying to pick your brain here a little bit.
Well, there's no secret sauce. I happen to have a background in many of these areas of finance, so I can kind of see the storm coming, and I can kind of see around the corners the opportunities that are there because just experience. There's not a lot of surprises to me anymore. If you have $50 or $50 million, there's not a lot of surprises with the complexity or the things that you're going to need to do. Every client is different. Every family has their own legacy, goals and their own things that you want to do. But I would say that the outcome that they want, once you define that, and that goes back to the setting the goals, right? Once you get that outcome that you want, I can help see around the corners of how you need to get that outcome. What do you need to do? What do you need to stop doing? More importantly, stop doing that because, it's like you're going from here to Vancouver. I'm in Southern California. So to go to Vancouver, I just go north. Why am I in Atlanta? If I'm trying to get to Vancouver, now I might eventually get there, but it's going to take longer. It's going to cost more. It's not going to be the most optimal way to get there, the most efficient way to get there. And so the fine tuning that I get to do with the families that I work with is optimizing that. You stop doing these things, start doing these things, and you're going to get there quicker. And then maybe there's even more, now we can create more goals or give more money away or set our kids up in, a different way. So that's kind of the thing. It's about the outcome.
So do you find also, as you're talking to your clients, that a lot of them don't have that much risk tolerance, right? When you're working with them into making investments, and how do you deal with clients like that who are, they're new, my money's been in the mattress all this time, and now you're asking me to take it out of there and, put it somewhere else. How do you deal with clients like that?
Well, you take your time. It's new. It's just like anything. If you start going to the gym because you decide you want to run a triathlon or race in a triathlon, you're going to be sore. When you start swimming, your shoulders are going to feel it. When you start lifting weights, your legs are going to feel it. You get on the bike, your bottom's going to feel it. There's that, it's new and it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel natural because it's new. It's new habits. It's a new way of doing things. It's a new way of being. And so I think, and I wouldn't say it's one of my frustrations, but it's one of my patience growing areas of my passion, my work, is when people really kind of push back. It's scary to invest if you never have. And you've been told to save your money, and now somebody's telling you to put it somewhere, and I don't really know who these people are. I've heard of these companies. Is it safe? I don't know. So helping people just with baby steps get there, it works. Well, let's just put our toe in the water. Let's just fund an IRA, and let's just take our time and learn about mutual funds and ETFs and stocks and bonds and how the money's moving and how it's not the same as savings. Growing is not the same as saving. So it's not like, you have to compare a share to a dollar. They both look like it's 1.0, but it's different values, and it moves and breathes in a different way, a different kind of animal. So I think education is a lot of it. To answer your question, how do I help people get where they want to go by doing what they want to do? It's got to be in their timing. And so, sometimes it's like, well, you could have had a 20% year. You didn't, you can't beat them up because you got to meet them where they are. And you've got to get on their mental map and help them overcome or break through whatever barriers they have. Maybe there's limited beliefs. Maybe there's fear or shame from mistakes in the past, something the family taught them. And it's just, you learned it when you were 8, and it's still there, so doing something different can be a challenge. And so part of my role is to come along beside people and help them get where they want to go in their time. And, you can't take them to the water and make them drink, right? But you can help them just with baby steps, get out of the comfort zone and then start to see the results. And it's just like anybody that's going to train for an event or weight loss or whatever it is, it might not be they're the star of the show and they're the poster child for success. It's in their time, little baby steps, but they'll get there.
And speaking of time, it's that time of the show for your money challenge. What do you got for me?
I love the challenge. If you haven't taken the time to really look at the 5 pillars that we discussed, you've got your tax, legal and insurance, cash reserves, and investments. If you haven't taken the time to look at where the biggest gap might be in your personal and family plan, do that. That's going to be your challenge for this week. Is it tax? Can I do a better job with either tax preparation organization, pulling things together? Do I need to upgrade my professional or get some help with that? Maybe it's legal. Maybe you haven't updated your will. Maybe you need to look at having a trust. If you have children or if you have any real estate and you don't have a trust, there might be some good reasons to look into creating at least a revocable living trust or some kind of trust. It might be the options that you have at work. If you're an employee and there are benefits offered to you, maybe insurances, maybe 401k or deferred compensation plans, what's being offered, and should I be taking advantage of something at work that can help me in my long-term goals? So whatever it is, in any of those pillars, identify the pillar of finance that you could do more, better, different, and then do something about that. Have a conversation, call a professional, sit down with somebody who has advice they can offer you, maybe a relative or somebody that's doing well. Find out who they're using and what they're doing. Make your own plan. Do something in one of those 5 pillars that will move you toward the most important goals that you have. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you've heard the challenge. Make sure you share with us if you have any questions. If you also want to hear additional topics for the show, please make sure you let us know as well, too. Judy, any last parting words?
Make it a great week. You've got this.
All right, folks, we will see you here next Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. Replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Until next week, Judy, have a great day.
You as well, Carlos. Bye-bye.